In this video, Joel Salatin talks about his best management practices out in the field of his Polyface Farm in Virginia. We were very fortunate to be able to hear his best talk in the world upon the subject.
I have to address the demonization of the cow. If your head has been anywhere except in the sand for the last 10 years, you're seeing a mounting, aggressive assault against cattle, especially. They're burping, they're farting, they're going to destroy the planet. We're all going to die because of the cow. And so I have to get us to think here a little bit. The way nature works is what runs the planet, the ecology. Yes, they don't like to be talked about. Is photosynthesis. So I like to say, scientists would call it solar energy. I like to call it sunbeams because it's the stuff of children's fantasies and poetry and stories. Okay, so sunbeams. We all agree that that's energy. Well, how about grabbing me a few sunbeams? You can't. But through photosynthesis, this plant can reach out to something as mystical and esoteric as sunbeams and convert it to something weighable, measurable, fungible, physical. Is that not the coolest thing in the world? So the weight of this plant, 95% of it is sunlight, only 5% is soil. So the land is on the planet. The way it's supposed to work is it's on a perpetual weight gain program. And what happens is this plant then inhales carbon dioxide, splits off the carbon, and that becomes all the sugars to feed the actinomycetes, the mycorrhizae, the mycelium, and all the soil food biota, which is 7 billion individuals per handful. It's a lot.
Right.
Okay. And they are then finding molybdenum and boron and cobalt and things like that in the soil. And they're trading them for these polysaccharides out of the root exudates. So there's this whole underground cafe. I like to think of it as kind of like a Star Wars cafe. When Luke Skywalker went to find a vehicle, and he ran to Han Solo at that cafe. Remember, you got all those weird aliens. That's what I think's going on in the soil. You got, hey, I got 2 molybdenums. I'll trade you for a teaspoonful of that polysaccharide, coming down, and that's what's actually happening. It's all running on sugars that are coming in from the photosynthetic activity of the plant, and so that's the way it works. But the plant has a problem. See, there's 3 kinds of plants. There's trees, shrubs, and forages, or grasses and clovers, things, forages, all right, like this. Trees, shrubs, forages. Which one do you think is the most efficient at converting sunbeams into sequestered carbon in the soil? Well, you guys are smarter than the... Do I make it that easy? If you ask the average person, they think... we generally think trees. Look at all that carbon, right? It's all that carbon. Oh, wow. But that represents 50 years of accumulation. The fastest thing to do it is this plant, is the forage. There's no way to compete with this. I don't know why I even try. You're listening? Okay, you're listening with all the fun.
What kind of tour is this?
So the plant is taking in those sunbeams, converting it into this. The problem is, though, the plant doesn't live very long. Forages do what a tree does in 80 years. They do it in about 80 days.
Wow.
Okay? They grow up and they make a seed head. All right? They make a seed head, and then they're done, and they go into senescence. In fact, I like to just kind of show an S curve here, a sigmoid curve. This is the way it grows. It starts to grow. It starts real slow, and then it grows real fast, and then it slows down as it goes into senescence. I call this down here diaper grass, teenage grass, and nursing home grass. Okay? So if we want to get as much sunbeams collected into biomass to sequester carbon as much as possible, of those 3 stages, where do we want the plant most of the time?
Middle.
Teenage, yeah. I don't do trick questions. This is easy. Teenage, all right? So the reason for the herbivore in nature is to come to this pre-nursing home stage and prune it off, eat it, prune it to restart this rapid growth cycle. Because if the plant goes into senescence, it turns brown, dies, and then it actually desiccates out, it volatilizes out the carbon in decay that was made in it. All right. Wow. So the reason for the herbivore in nature is to prune this biomass. Now in nature, there are 3, you remember the 3 M's from down there? Who can recite me the 3 M's from down there?
Mobility, modular, and
management intensive. Very good. You ready for 3 more M's? Okay. I do try to be consistent here, so I'm going to give you 3 more M's. All right. So the M's of herbivore or herbivorous pruning in nature are these. Number 1, they move. They don't stand in the same place. They move. The migratory choreography of herds in nature, they move. They don't stand in the same place. Number 2, they're mobbed up. They're mobbed up. They're not spread all over the place. They're mobbed up for, why do you think they mob up? Like the zebras on the Serengeti. Why do they mob up? Protection, predator protection. All right? So they're mobbed up. And the third thing is that they're mowing. They're mowing. They're not eating dead cows and chicken manure and feathers and Little Debbie's ho-ho cakes that got messed up at the plant. Wow. They're mowing, okay? So we take that natural template, that native wild template, we lay it down on a commercial production and say, how can we duplicate the moving, mobbing, mowing of nature that is so productive, that built all the deep soils on the planet? That's why all the deep soils on the planet are not under forests. They're under prairies with herbivores. So if we really want to build soil and sequester carbon, we do it the way nature does it, with herbivores and grasses and forages, okay? So how do we duplicate that template on a commercial domestic production model? So our tool is the electric fence. I have the spark turned off so you won't get it. So this electric fence, so we use high-tech electric fence with space-age microchip technology and an energizer to give us a pulse on 1 amp of energy that allows us to essentially put a steering wheel, a brake, and an accelerator on that 4-legged pruner. First time in human history, we have been able to duplicate more precisely what nature does with wolves and fire and migratory choreography. We've been able to duplicate that even more precisely with high tech. So every day we give them 1 paddock. So you are parked on where they were the day before yesterday. Last evening, they moved into here. Okay? Now I'm going to move them into the next spot. The point I want you to realize is, you can see that forage right there ahead of them? Last evening at 4 o'clock, this looked just like that. That's pruning. But the beauty is, as soon as I move them off of here, they won't be back on here until it reaccumulates, until it goes through its blaze of growth and comes back. So the result of managing this way is that we're able in Augusta County, where we live right here, in Augusta County, the average cow days per acre So a cow day is what one cow will eat in a day. So if we took all the food you're going to eat today, put it on one plate, that'd be one person day of food. Everybody with me? Okay? Yeah. All right. So one person day of food. And so what the cow eats in one day is one cow day. In Augusta County, the average cow days per acre is 80. In other words, an acre will support 80 cows for a day, or one cow for 80 days a year. Everybody with me? Yeah. Our average here is 400. Whoa. And we haven't bought a bag of chemical fertilizer or planted a seed in 60 years. Nice. That's not bragging. That is simply paying humble homage to an infinitely wonderfully designed and created creation, that it's our obligation not to adulterate it or run roughshod conquistador over it, but rather to incorporate it and integrate it in our thinking, our planning, and our production, so that we capture the beauty of nature's choreography. That's the point.
Wow. Bravo.
Okay? So, when we talk about can we feed the world, if you think, well, if that neighbor would do this and quintuple production, and that neighbor would quintuple production doing this, and if that neighbor would, and that neighbor would, and everybody in the county would, and everybody in Virginia would, you begin to realize the whole idea of overpopulation is simply because we have constipation of imagination.
Joel, what's the
to actually duplicate the templates of the patterns that nature has given us.
So what's the resistance? Where's the resistance?
Where's the resistance?
Why is everyone saying, hey, let's do it this way?
Because this takes planning. It takes monitoring. It's a paradigm. It's a paradigm shift. Grandpa didn't do it this way. You know, I mean, in our area, the idea, I'm going to move them in just a second. You'll be able to see what they look like to move them. You know, in our area, I mean, we have wonderful neighbors. I'm not trying to diss neighbors. We're great. I trust them with my bank account, with my granddaughter. I just don't trust them with my food or the land. Okay, and of course, most of the neighbors around here, you know, they kind of have this little, this little wad of tobacco, you know, down your lip. And for them, when they hear "move cows," that phrase "move cows," here's what they're thinking. Move cow? My goodness. I mean, last week, we tried to get all the cows in. I mean, I got my uncle and my aunt, 2 pickup trucks, 3 4-wheelers. We had the dogs, you know, and all of us out there chasing cows all day. And we got them all in, but we never got 2. They got stuck up there in the brush and the gully. We never got 2. But it took us all day to get them all in. I mean, I can't imagine moving cows in there. That's crazy, man. Crazy. That's the mentality. Okay, and so you know we have this think. I'll believe it when I see it. That's actually incorrect. The truth is, I'll see it when I believe it. That's the truth. Because our heart, our paradigm is a screen to what our eyes and our head can metabolize. Okay? So, just enjoy for a moment. I'm going to walk down here. I'm going to move them, and you'll be able to see how hard it is to move them, and then we'll go on with the show. All right? So just enjoy. Just stay put. Be quiet. I'm gonna go blow off a wire. They're going to go right in the next section. It's all going to happen pretty quick.
Just we're putting a little bit of headphones there. Go to they know what's up. They know what's up.
In Wyoming, it's so funny to watch.
Oh, he's probably not trying. Greener
We got the horses. We had Joel Salatin Farm. He's a passionate mentor. Teaching us about nature and farming. And now we got the cows and factory.
No, he's taking, he's put the other.
My dog. Yeah.
Literally making them run. Making them run. Wait, it's magic. Look at that little one.
And they already have it pre-wired for the next one.
Right.
Never gonna go.
No. They have them all set.
So like in Hollywood, in Hollywood, West Hollywood, right, that cost more running sort of starts, but just did it, or just sitting in a park, and all of a sudden there's a rattle, and I didn't actually see it a bit, but someone checked his leg.
Pavlov dog.
He was in their yard.
What was that?